guys!
Hi guys!
We are back with another Walking Dead comic book review. This time reviewing Walking Dead number 146, A Breaking Point Reached.
And if you haven't read this issue of the Walking Dead comic, you're going to want to skip this video until you have, because we are going to spoil it.
Very predictably, the people are not happy that Rick doesn't have a plan to retaliate against Alpha and the Whisperers.
Yeah, like last issue left off and you weren't sure where Rick stood. Like, you were like, does he want to retaliate? Is he just going to let this go? Because that's the way it was seeming.
Yeah.
And this one picked up with that, and like half the issue, you still don't know where Rick wants to go. It's not until the very end where you're finally like, oh, okay, good. He's not going to just let this go.
Right. He's being very measured, which is the right move.
Yeah.
But Eugene is the one that really surprised me.
Yeah, but Rosita was pregnant.
Yeah.
And even though it wasn't Eugene's child, he was planning on raising it like it was. So I think that hit him really hard.
Yeah. And he approaches Rick, and they have like a private meeting. And he's like, look, I understand, we can't do anything right now, and that's the right move, but this can't stand. We have to retaliate, and you're missing our major advantage. We have her daughter. And I'm like, Eugene has turned totally ruthless.
Yeah. I was not I expected somebody to realize that, hey, we have her daughter. But I definitely wasn't thinking it was Eugene. I thought it would be Maggie, if anybody.
Yeah, I thought maybe Maggie.
Or Negan, if they decided to bring Negan in. Because we still think they're going to have to reach out to Negan to
there's
resolve
a reason why they didn't just write Negan out of the comic.
Yeah.
And it wasn't to have him, just sitting in a jail cell the entire time. He's got to come back around sooner or later.
Yeah. Now, another thing we find out is that Rick did tell them about the super herd. So that makes the people's reactions a little, like, are you guys dumb? Do you really, if Rick tells you they have this supermassive herd, bigger than anything you've ever seen before, are you doubting him?
And we know that he's mentioned it at least because Eugene knows about it. Mm-hmm. And he says something like, I heard you talking about it or something like that.
Yeah.
So
it made it feel like everybody knows about it.
Or maybe Eugene was eavesdropping or something like that. We don't really know, but Eugene knows. So it's kind of easy to assume that it's at least somewhat common knowledge.
Yeah, and Eugene's not exactly a secret keeper, so if Eugene knows, I just assume everybody else knows.
Exactly. But the main thing is I can't believe Eugene is the one who's gone totally cold-hearted, and I thought probably he's the one who would just absolutely crumble under the pressure and just go hide in his house.
Yeah, and he's like using this to kind of come into his own, which is kind of interesting to see for his character.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what happens with Eugene, because he's like, all the rest of these people, they're stupid. They're going to get us all killed. I'm smart. I know we
Let me help you with the plan.
Yeah, so I'm really excited. Well, I've always been excited for it.
We're always excited for it.
But now I'm like, I don't know, for whatever reason, Eugene, kind of turning cold-blooded has gotten me really excited for 147 and going forward.
Yeah. Now, I kind of wonder, Alpha's daughter, Lydia, right?
Yeah.
Lydia, I've always not liked her. Like, I've always distrusted her. Like, her character's cool. That's not what I mean. But, like, I don't trust her. I think she's manipulating Carl, and I think that her and her mother are kind of in on this whole thing, and that she is exactly where Alpha wants her to be.
Right. Alpha seems very calculating like that.
Yeah, like she seems like she's about 5 steps ahead of everybody else.
Yeah.
And Lydia, just for some reason, I think she's playing Carl. Like, I've always gotten that vibe from her. So, the fact that Eugene says to use the daughter, at first I was like, but Alpha allowed, not just allowed, basically was like, fine, you want to be like this, get and go with them. Yeah. Like, she basically got rid of her daughter.
Because she was weak and was actually, well, that's her story, is my daughter's weak, she's a detriment to our way of being. Mm-hmm. You take her because she's a danger to us.
Yeah, so, like, with that story, how are they going to use the daughter? But like I said, I think that Lydia is there because Alpha wants her there, and that they actually could use her daughter because I think she cares for her a lot more than she's letting on.
And I don't really think Rick has it in him to use the daughter against Alpha. That
No,
just
I don't
doesn't
think
seem
so
in
either.
his character.
No. Although if they bring Negan, that is totally in Negan's
Negan's
character.
totally down for it.
Yeah.
I don't think Rick is. Not yet, anyway.
Yeah, not yet. I think more shit's gonna have to happen before Rick gets there, and I think that's gonna need to happen. Right now, he's trying to play it too safe because he's got a huge group of people to look out for, and this group of people has one, they're terrifying, and two, they have this massive herd.
Yeah. So it's going to be awesome to see how this unfolds. I'm really looking forward to it.
And it would be irresponsible of us to do a review of this comic and not talk about this situation right here.
The little fight.
Yes.
The full-on fist fight between Rick and Maggie.
Now, looking at the cover, you almost are like, oh my god, stuff's going down between them. But knowing Rick and Maggie and being a reader of the comic, you kind of also know it's probably just like a couple of pages at the,
At the most.
At the most, and they'll resolve it very quickly, which they do. Maggie just kind of loses her shit and attacks Rick, and
she knocks him on his
butt. But she realizes it like immediately. She's like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, what am I doing? Like, she realizes she lost her cool, but Rick lost his cool too. I mean, he hit 3 people during the whole fiasco. So
including Maggie.
Yeah, including Maggie.
Like, he swung first and then she put him on his butt. And then they hug it out.
Yeah.
And
it's like they kind of needed to, because Maggie did something that he totally disagrees with.
Yeah.
Even though what she did is right, I don't think he's there where he can accept that it's right. But they needed to have this little fiasco so that they can hug it out and move on with it and figure out what they're going to do.
Because if they're head-to-head, they're totally not ready to take on Alpha. So,
exactly.
So they needed this moment to kind of get everything out in the open and become okay with each other again.
Yeah.
And it seems like they did.
Yeah.
Alright, I think that's everything for this review. If we missed anything that you think we should have talked about, let us know in the comments, or just, talk to us in general about the comic. I really enjoyed this issue.
Yes, it was really good. With nothing basically happening, it was a really great issue. It's building a lot of story and character.
Like, half of the issue had no dialogue.
Yeah, the first 5 or 6 pages have 0 dialogue, but it worked.
It worked perfectly.
It's like when there's a massacre on TV and then they do like this little overlay and it's got the music going and you're just kind of cutting to every single character as they're crying. That's what it felt like. Like, I had music playing in my head. Yeah. Depressing, sad music.
Okay, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more reviews.
And thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.